morning and welcome to Morning Java. It's sponsored as always by our friends at Citrix GoToMeeting, the online meeting solution that hosts more than 60 million meetings a year. Learn more at gotomeeting.com. You can't tell from the train behind us, Monongahela River, downtown Pittsburgh, which was filled with 375,000 people today. Our Lance Lysowski was over there, and what's the best way to describe what you saw over there?
The best word I can describe it as is unbelievable. I mean, we got down there at 9:30 a.m. and you had people just lining parking garages, people standing, looking out windows, standing at anything they could just to get a glimpse of the cup. They know that they're not going to get, more than a few feet away, but the opportunity to kind of just be there and be involved and be around all these other fans, it was an incredible atmosphere.
Well, what about from the standpoint of the mood that was there? Did it feel more like relief, or is like, a couple days after it's like, all right, let's just enjoy this thing?
It was a celebration. I mean, everyone was just electric atmosphere. It wasn't, it's finally over. I know some people might feel that way after the journey that ended, but they were just here. They were just so happy that we had a beautiful day here in the city, and that the atmosphere was perfect. I mean, the stars aligned. After Game 5, when outside console, everyone was just as sad as can be that it wasn't done here. This is finally the celebration they got. They didn't get to greet the team when they got to the airport. A few people did, not many, but this was their opportunity to tell this team thank you for everything that's happened over this journey that I know how long it's been. It's incredible to see all kind of come together.
There's nothing more incredible than a Pittsburgh parade route that everyone knows so well that they have their favorite spots staked out. The players themselves, Lance, Matt Murray said that no matter how much he thought about this or how much he'd prepared for it, even in the last couple of days, that he couldn't have imagined that it was this big. These are guys, in some cases, like the younger ones, who wouldn't have known about 2009 and what this city can do for parades. Did you get the sense that these guys, even just looking around, were like, wow?
They were captivated. You saw a big group of them, Brian Rust included, who got off the motorcade, was running up the street, high-fiving fans, giving autographs. Eric Fair grabbed a replica Stanley Cup and held it over his head. The crowd went nuts.
Brian Dumoulin was cut loose too. Some guys just didn't want to be attached to their vehicles. They just wanted to get out there. Some of you will remember from 2009, Jordan Stahl did that, running down the Boulevard of the Allies, just high-fiving everybody. Pascal Dupuis did it today as well. They just want to be part of it. That wasn't part of anybody's plan.
No, and the guys who did win it in 2009, they were just soaking it in. I mean, you didn't see a whole lot of emotion. Pascal Dupuis especially. He shaved the beard. It's gone, guys, if you're wondering. He's
like Brian Rush didn't even recognize him without the beard.
He had a little cast on his hand, but the beard was gone. These guys who had been there, you could just tell it was a special moment for them. And the young guys, they just looked like kids on Christmas Day. I mean, just as excited as could be.
The guy that I can't shake, and I made him maybe the unwitting focus of my column from San Jose, was Justin Schultz at the end, and you watch him here again today with just that big, wow, I can't believe this is happening look on his face.
Well, I think those young guys, they didn't understand how big of an event this is for this city.
No.
375,000 people just to see a few cars drive up the street and get a glimpse of that Stanley Cup that this team worked so hard
for. They
for.
Couldn't have had any thoughts in their head that would approximate this as their bus pulled out of Consol Energy Center, no matter who or how they would have braced them for it. Paul Steigerwald said to the crowd at the end of the parade, near the end of the speeches that were given on the stage, that Pittsburgh is without question the hockey city in America. And when you say America, you always have to be careful about North America because Canada, blah, blah, and everything else. But when you look at the way this city, Lance, and now how many generations, because you're talking about the Lemieux generation that was mine, you're talking about the Sidney Crosby generation, now you're looking at another one. I don't know that you would label it something other than the Crosby one, but it's 7 years is enough that there's a new group of fans. Has this team just taken ownership of another group here going forward?
I believe it has, and we're really seeing this fan base grow. I saw, because I was there in 2009 for the parade. It's a big difference how many more casual fans this team has won over in this city.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say that it's overtaken the Steelers as a top team, but I think honestly, I would have trouble, picturing any other city having that many people at a parade.
The Steelers are a different beast here. To the best of my ability and this isn't scientific or anything, but we track where our subscriptions come from, we track where our feedback comes from. And the Steelers are much more popular with former Pittsburghers and people who have left the city than in the city, to the best of what I can gather. Now that said, their ratings, their TV ratings at games once a week are still, their regular season ratings are better than what the Penguins got in the playoffs. So you have to keep this in perspective. But it is just once a week. Still, when you talk to young people or whatever, they connect with the Penguins.
Especially this group. This group especially, with all the young guys, different personalities. And a lot of these fans have seen Sidney Crosby grow from the 18-year-old who came to Pittsburgh to what he is now. And I think
he's theirs, right? They watched him grow up.
They really took ownership of this team, this group, and this guys, and everything they've done over the last, because there have been a lot of highs and a lot of lows over the last 7 years. 7 years to the day, there was a parade here before. A lot of things have happened, and to see this city kind of grow with that team, it's pretty incredible to watch.
Phil Kessel. There's only so much that you could say about Phil Kessel, and you think, we're going to get tired of talking about the great Phil story and everything else. But it only gets better. So here he is on the stage. They introduced the HBK line as one. Nick Bonino goes up and he speaks into the microphone. Phil's awesome. Carl Hagelin goes to the microphone next and goes, Phil's awesome. Phil's turn, and he just kind of turns around and goes and gets the cup and lifts it up over his head. So Phil.
What a special moment for him after everything he's been thrown. I mean, so criticized of the way that things happen in Toronto.
Viciously. Yeah.
People really judge.
People don't understand how nasty the Toronto media is. It's not something that you hear about here much unless you really follow hockey closely.
They really judged him, and he had a really bad rap when he came to Pittsburgh. Everyone thought, how's that going to work out? Well, it worked out pretty well, and I think the way you saw his reaction going up the Boulevard of the Allies, and again, he was like one of those young 21-year-old kids like Matt Murray.
How was Phil Kessel not born in Pittsburgh? He's like the kind of guy that you could actually just sidle up to next to a bar and just sit there and drink with him all night.
I think it's what the city loves about him. I mean, think about all the athletes.
Yeah, you look at Phil and you think, I could conceivably go out there and do that.
And you could just, walk into a random bar in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, and there would be Phil sitting at the bar, and he's just one of those guys. The personality, kind of an overlooked, kind of an underdog. As skillful as he is, people have overlooked him. He's never been one of those perennial players. He's never been looked at as a superstar. Well, he played like one of these players.
I have to share this with you before we go. On the ice in San Jose, I went up behind Phil Kessel. He was talking to a group of people, waited until he was done talking, whatever, and I kind of put my hand on his shoulder like this and turn him around, and I go, hey, Phil, congratulations. And he said to me, he goes, you remember the talk we had last summer on the phone? And I said, yeah, absolutely. When we talked about how everything was about to change here. He's coming to a place that respects talent, that nurtures it, that leaves you alone, basically, that doesn't put pressure on you. I said, how are you feeling right now? And he goes, I'm so happy, man. That was the most Phil moment ever until that thing that happened over there.